This is the Aftermarket Radio Network. Hey, Carm Capriato here, the Automotive Aftermarket Podcast guy, and thanks for always tuning in and spreading the word. You know, we've got an interesting episode today. I'm with Maureen Pisani, a Certified Master Hypnotherapist and the founder of ProThrive Science-Based Hypnotherapy. And there she works with individuals and groups both in person and online to help empower, streamline success, and truly thrive. You may ask, Carm, why this interview? Well, I found the discussion with Maureen refreshingly different. I can see where some never reach their potential, yet we know they have it in them. Maureen offers really cool solutions. Hey, imagine this as a tool for the automotive aftermarket. And go ahead and do the math. Unlimited potential and untapped ideas. Hey, thanks to our sponsors that make the episode possible. The Virtual Apex Experience 2020, man, it's in the record books. And I gotta say that Virtual Apex lived up to presenting leading technical and business management training with some of the industry's best and brightest trainers. Now, set your sights on the homecoming in Las Vegas 2021. Mark your calendar now, November 2nd through the 4th, 2021. Apex, now more than ever. Now's the time to transform your shop, break away from your legacy SMS. Embrace Shopware's shop management system. You know, Shopware can show you the way to increase profits from happier customers and a more efficient staff. Such powerful reasons. Visit shopware.com for a free preview. If you're not listening mobile, then find a podcast app and subscribe free to Remarkable Results Radio and have every interview at the ready and on demand. Hey, there's so much to learn while you multitask with podcasts. Now, you can find a podcast player at remarkableresults.biz/listen. We're on all the big sites.
You come close to losing your shop, so you work like crazy to never be there again. But that ebbs and flows. That's not a consistent energy. Or we have what we call towards motivators, where it's, I want to have 2 shops in 2 different cities. Now that motivation is going to draw you. The closer you get to it, the more motivated you are.
Hey, more with Maureen Pisani in a minute. Hey, did you see the live shop tour we did this week? Did you hear some of the wise insights from my guest host? Well, it all happens on aftermarketweekly.com. Always good things to learn and a most unique aftermarket resource. Hey, when I think back to the start of the show in March 2015, I'm in awe of the support from you as you discovered this golden vein of great ideas and insights to spark your success engine. Hey, big thanks for being involved in the podcast and slicing off your share of wisdom that's liberally shared by our guests each week. Hey, warm welcome to Maureen Pisani from ProThrive Science-Based Hypnotherapy. How you doing, Maureen?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for inviting me here.
I'm so glad you're here. Hey, Carm, what are you doing with Maureen on your show? Are you kidding me? Well, listen, gang, you know I'm always out looking for some of the latest things that I think can help our industry. You know, I'm all into All Ships Rise and how can we get these stories told that help people. Jennifer Filson said, hey, you got to talk to Maureen. And I said, okay. And Maureen and I spent an hour together. I don't know where the time went.
We were having fun, so.
We were, and I was learning so much. And then you hit something on me so hard. And it was, you know, there's too many business people out there, and especially shop owners that are just happy making 2% profit because that's what they think they deserve or they can earn. And we should be making 20. And then you said something to me that just blew my mind. And you said, Carm, it's our unconscious that keep us there. Take us down the road here.
So the unconscious mind is running the show. We all know that we think of what we want, what we desire, what we plan to achieve. But then for some reason, some people succeed in doing it and some people don't. And the reason is because our unconscious mind is programmed. So I want you to think of a computer. You see things on the monitor, but nothing happens on the monitor unless it's actually okayed by the CPU. And we have these programs that, by the way, have been set since age 8. So if your parents were making $50,000 a year, which at that time was great, now $50,000 isn't enough. So the more you work and you work hard to achieve it, the more situations happen. And when the situation happens and you lose X amount of money and then it brings you down accidentally, coincidentally, mysteriously to 50,000, then your unconscious mind settles in. And to me, that's not the way you should live. 2% profit isn't enough. What about 22? What about 200% profit? Wouldn't that be nice? Because once we open your unconscious mind to the what if it works? What if it works for me? What if I can actually do that? With your ethics, with your hard work, you have the potential to do it. The only reason it's not happening is because your unconscious mind doesn't see it as safe. And that's where I come in.
Maureen explained to me how she was able to help salespeople that, they just couldn't get past go, if you will. And the analysis, the case studies that say, listen, here's what we did for people because we got their unconscious mind to be making better decisions for them. And I love your analogy. The acceptability of $50,000 is because, hey, that's what mom and dad did. Somewhere deep down inside, it's an okay thing. It doesn't get you where you need to get today in 2020.
Especially in 2020 is the year of uncertainty. We have to be flexible. We have to redo things. Luckily, the automotive industry, it's a necessity. We all need our car to be dependable. So the second we sit there, it takes off. But what if it's got a faulty starter? What if there's a dirty fuel injector? You know how in the olden days we used to jiggle the key because it doesn't really quite catch? That's how unconscious mind works.
This is fantastic because you're speaking our language.
I might be the girly girl, but I've done my share with cars.
Oh, amazing. So, yeah, imagine Maureen comes on and she's speaking our language. Did you study what we should talk about?
Actually, I enjoy the mechanism of how cars work because it is a beautiful analogy for our mind. And we know our car, right? We used to be able to pop the hood and look and say, oh, the distributor cap isn't tight enough. Let's fix it. But the thing is this, we live like that all the time. We know what we're strong in. We know what we're weak in. And if we're weak in something, we really don't volunteer for it. We know we'd like $1 million a month, but seriously, I can do $1 million a month? That's instantaneous how you feel.
Amazing. Maureen and I spent a ton of time, I think it was last week, in our pre-call so that I could get a feel and learn and understand. And then when I was done with the hour, and we should have recorded it, darn it.
Yes, we should have.
We should have. That was the podcast because here I'm asking all these curious questions to you and you just kept nailing them and I just kept getting in deeper. And I finally said at the end, I got to do a podcast with you because it's almost like I can use this stuff because I know what I grind habitually to do. And I only wish I could get better at something. And you convinced me that I can because of my subconscious and then this whole left brain, right brain, frontal cortex. Can you take us down that pathway?
So my company's name is ProThrive Science-Based Hypnotherapy, specifically because everything I do is science-based. So you guys know we have a right brain and a left brain. And right up here, we have something called the prefrontal cortices, which is known as the adult brain. So the adult brain is basically the brakes, the filters, the censorship in hypnosis to put you in a state of hypnosis, which, by the way, is incredibly natural. The first thing I do is going to walk you through, just with words, walk you through a process where your prefrontal cortices go into abeyance. They're like, it's her. Okay. Then I keep talking to you, and I run you through another exercise, just with words, where your left brain, the logical brain, is so bored, like, oh my God, when's she going to stop talking? And it goes into abeyance. Once it goes into abeyance, into hypoactivity, then the right brain clicks up into hyperactivity, the right brain being the creative mind, the creative brain. The second it goes into hyperactivity, you're in hypnosis.
It has a V8 moment?
Yes. It's got this, we're like it. We're curious. The right brain is open. The right brain creates. So it's open to things of coloring outside the lines. It's open to what ifs. And the second I get you into a space where your brain is accepting the what if. What if I can make this? What if I can have profit? What if I can have a constant steady stream of clients, which makes me have peace of mind? Then you accept them.
Hey, Carm here, and coming up, Maureen explains 2 types of motivation. Hey, Carm here, and the Virtual Apex Experience 2020 is in the record books and brought the best and the brightest together to create an experience like no other. Virtual Apex delivered on their commitment to the service professional and provided sessions dedicated to technician and business management training. Apex also presented Joe's Garage with important demos and product knowledge segments, and the first annual Service Professional Awards were presented. Hey, the great news is that all of this was recorded, and it's available on demand on the virtual platform until December 5th, 2020. So if you earn your living in the aftermarket, Apex is definitely for you. Now, sure, SEAM is fun, but you'll learn more and see more that relates to your sales growth, profits, and productivity at Apex. Apex continues to present some of the best aftermarket technician and management trainers. Hey, mark your calendar now for Apex 2021, November 2nd through the 4th in Las Vegas. Listen here to learn when you can start registering. Shopware's innovative shop management system will give you back your time and put more money in your pocket. Make the switch today and watch technician efficiency gain 20%, enjoy increased recommended service, and even grow the highest parts profit margins ever with the smallest amount of work. You know, Steve from Ultimate Automotive says, I love that Shopware lets you complete every estimate on the inspection, and we even have a higher ARO, receive more approvals, and have had a significant increase in revenue. With our previous SMS, estimating was limited because it was so time-consuming. This impacted not only what we could sell on each customer's current visit, but also what we would have prepared for following visits. Hey, your peers are happy. Let Shopware work for you. Book a demo at getshopware.com. When Maureen and I were chatting last week, I didn't tell you this, but I went to a week-long emotional intelligence class, an EQ class, about a dozen, maybe 15 years ago. I can't forget that class. It was really profound on me, my whole self-awareness thing. And the trainer took everyone in the class to a space I never thought I could go to. And he says, you know, who's your hero? Who did you look up to in your life? And I said, it was my grandfather, John. And he took me back down this elevator, if you will. And I met my grandfather face to face and talked to him. And it was, and I never thought I could possibly ever do that. And I think what I'm hearing you say, I kind of had a little bit of that going on.
Absolutely. That was definitely hypnosis. Nothing happens without your participation.
So how can you help business people, salespeople get over the things that they don't really realize it maybe would be a perceived weakness?
A lot of people have and it's unfortunate because it's really something that is negative for us, but they have this that'll do attitude. 2% profit. It's a profit. It's not a loss. So that'll do. And that's where they get stuck. And we are living in the best country on the planet. So why isn't it 200%? When you come to the point where thinking about it, the answer is, I have no idea. That's how it's always been. So with hypnotherapy, I can be your secret weapon to upgrade your thinking processes, to upgrade that financial comfort zone. So instead of 2%, it becomes 22, it becomes 88, it becomes 200. And then when you feel it, when you live it, when clients come from out of the woodwork to see you, then that becomes your new norm. Because here's the secret. We have something called a physiological homeostasis. The body needs to be 98.6 degrees. What we don't know, most of us don't know, is that we have an unconscious homeostasis, the need to stay the same. Really? You want to stay the same struggling? You want to stay the same worried about how you're going to pay next month's bills? No, let's change it now in a safe way and get you to have peace of mind and to have success and to go from financial stability to financial independence to financial freedom.
Left brainers, right brainers, everyone seems to have a tendency. Is it any easier to work with a left or right brain person?
No, what I do is I speak to their hearing. So as soon as I meet somebody, I'm basically checking boxes mentally. You know, they're this way, they're that way, they're taking this kind of language, they have these kind of limitations, they have these kind of aspirations. And then I tailor what I say to the individual's brain. So if your unconscious mind takes German and I am hypnotizing you in Chinese, it's not going to work. But if I understand it takes German and then I give you German, then we're good.
Amazing. Give us a case study.
So I have a friend of mine, and there's a testimonial on the website, but I want to give you a backstory. You guys sell what we all need: cars, parts, beautiful bodies of cars, right? You know,
repairs, yeah.
Repairs, yes. My friend sells the one topic nobody wants to talk about: funerals, caskets, urns, cremations, and headstones. Yay! And she works for a national company. And she came to me last year with, we're at the bottom. Out of all the sales teams, my team is at the bottom. And it was 1 week before end of month. So I did one training, which I called Mind Money, because we expand your mind and expend your money. And in 7 days, they closed at 139% of their quota. Month 2, they were number 1 in the country. Month 3, she was director of the quarter. So it's something none of us want to talk about it. And she succeeded in that way. How much would your people succeed? You sell a palpable service, which we all need.
Maureen, what do you think happened?
I made it possible in their unconscious mind. This is not a judgment call, but Americans as a norm do not like to talk about death. Where I come from, it's part and parcel of life. But it's not a cultural thing where we pre-plan. So they were ready. They were walking out, hoping, crossing everything they owned, right? But hoping that somebody would say yes, knowing that they're going to talk about a topic nobody wants to say yes to. So they were walking out with their sales pitch expecting no's.
They were expecting no, and you were expecting a yes. So that must have changed their confidence. It must have changed their swagger. It must have changed the answers to their questions. It must have changed their open-ended questions. I mean, it wasn't technical that you worked on. Would you work on their self-confidence?
When it comes to how we function, we have a foundation called self-identity, and that's based on self-confidence, which is, can I do it? Self-esteem, do I deserve it? Self-worth, self-respect, self-acceptance, and self-love. If those reservoirs aren't overflowing, we're not at our best. So when I worked with them and I told them that, yes, they were doing a huge service to the client, they were saving them thousands of dollars, they were giving them options that in the in-need case weren't available. Then when they showed up sharing a topic which was a little bit distasteful, it came to the point where they saw the worth. They saw the benefits. So families, not one person, but families bought into this. And then peace of mind happened. The family got the peace of mind of all the benefits. The salesperson got the peace of mind because they got the sale, many sales, and then everybody was successful.
I love that whole peace of mind thing, because that's one of the things that we do sell in our industry is that, the safety and reliability, which is really peace of mind and keeping the car in its original working condition. And I guess I could see, and again, I've never done this, and I'm taking your word and your case study, and of course our great friend Jennifer, who I guess is all over this and believes in this, that you can take an individual from sales, you can take an entrepreneur who is still struggling in the I've got to do everything mode, and can't get in and work on his business, not in it, and I guess move them into different quadrants of their life.
And most, there's a percentage of hands-on people, which is the business people who love fixing the cars, but now have to deal with the business aspect of life, that they appreciate that it's not their strength, so they get business coaches involved. But now we have this little dance where the business coach knows what to say to the client, knows how to guide them into success, but the business coach's approach is only with the conscious mind, which according to some is 3% of your brain power, which to some is maximum 12%. So when the business coach is guiding correctly, ethically, the client's unconscious mind can't accept it. So that's why I collaborate with coaches to help them remove the uncoachable term. Because they say, this particular client is uncoachable. Well, it's not. It's actually that the unconscious mind for the client doesn't know what to do with the information the business coach is offering. So I come behind the scenes. I'm just somebody that the business coach refers the client to. I get that person's mind to be ready to accept all the suggestions that the business coach is giving, and then the business coach's advice is adhered to and implemented, and the client gets the results.
So there's a blockage, and the blockage is in the subconscious mind. And I love the analogy when we talked last week. You said, like the iceberg thing, the subconscious mind is below the water, and it's a big and powerful part of the iceberg.
The Titanic ignored the bottom half, the bottom 88% of the iceberg. And that's what happens with our businesses. We're going, we should be on track, but we're forgetting what's happening underwater. And then Titanic moments happen, and that's what I'm here to prevent.
So why can't I just change my conscious mind? Why do I need to be, and I don't know if this is the right word, Maureen, manipulated? Why can't I change my conscious mind?
You can change your conscious mind. The only problem is the conscious mind thinks it's in charge. Well, in the reality of the situation, it's your unconscious mind that's running the show. Now, thank you for bringing up that manipulated word, because that is perfect. Everything we do is with intention. So I used to, because in COVID we don't anymore, but I used to do a lot of networking. And when I shared that I'm a hypnotherapist, people would tell me, so how many people have you manipulated? And I would look at them, and I'm a little mischievous. So with a straight face, I would say, how many people have you murdered? What are you talking about? And I'm like, you have knives in your kitchen, don't you? They go, yeah. So if you have a knife, doesn't that mean that you murdered people? They go, no, of course not. So that's the thing. With hypnosis, yes, I'm ethical. Yes, I'm in integrity. But that's the whole point. I can never make you do anything that's out of your morals, ethics, and beliefs. So if you want to succeed, if you would like a 33% of increase in profit, then you're ready to accept it. Then it's mental collaboration.
So you've got to be ready. If someone said, hey, I'm going to buy you a session with Maureen. All right. I'm an unwilling player. Is it going to work for me?
Nope. Here's the thing. I'll give you the same situation in different scenarios. In both scenarios, it's a true story. I had one guy show up in my office, and this is his opening statement. I was discharged 3 days ago from a triple bypass. My cardiologist is screaming at me. My wife is threatening divorce because I won't stop smoking. And I said, do you enjoy smoking, sir? He goes, yes. Have a good day. Scenario 2. A guy walks into my office with, I smoke 3.5 packs a day. I want to stop smoking. I have no idea how. Can you help me? Yes. He stopped one session over 9 years ago, never picked up a cigarette again.
So you can probably stop me from eating bread if I want to.
That's a very easy one. I switch off carbs for people every day.
If I want to. Did you hear me? I'm Italian. Bread is in my DNA somewhere.
No, it's something if you want to. But there are so many things, things like self-sabotage behavior. You know that we have people that admire us or look up to us. So those sales are super easy. Then we have people who are our peers. Those sales are easy. But then there are people we look up to. You know what we call the chicken list. And if one of those people shows up in your shop, do you have it? Do you have it set so you can actually talk with confidence, with professionalism, and close that deal? Because the second we feel shaky, we usually don't.
So if I was a salesperson and I wanted to fix the fact that I have a fear with Mr. Smith and Mrs. Jones, I just can't get up and over them. Would you then ask me, well, tell me what kind of people you're having a problem with? And then you fix my subconscious mind to when they come in again and I look at them and I say, hey, literally the fear's gone?
Yes. For people who know me, I know this is difficult to understand, but for people who know me, they know I used to be shy. And then I became a hypnotherapist. And of course, it's worked on me. But then I went from the quiet one, the one who would do things because she had to the number one seller at the Chopra Center. If it happened to me, it's going to happen to your people.
One of the things that I was impressed with is that you were an individual that had some really bad pains. And I don't know how many surgeries that you had on your elbows.
Yes, I had 10, 5 on each arm.
She showed me all the scars that she had all over her elbows. That's when you learned the value of hypnotherapy because you went and it helped you alleviate your pain.
Oh, big time. It was a disaster. It was 6 years, 10 surgeries, and over 25,000 pills. And in 2 sessions of hypnotherapy, the pain was gone.
I find that intriguing. I find it fascinating. I find it on one side of me hard to believe. But then after listening to the things that you're telling me and the science behind this, I'm not smart enough to say that it can't work. And so, with the case studies and with the people and the stories that you've told me, this seems to be a great way to improve self.
Very fast, very efficient, and results are surprising. The change doesn't come with fanfare. It's not like we're royalty and we walk into a room and there's trumpeteers. Change happens 1%, 2%. Change happens gradually to the point where you're like, well, when did that start happening? And you're completely taken by surprise because your numbers improved, your confidence improves, your peace of mind improves, you're sleeping better. Clients are you become a magnet. And it's like, how did all that happen?
If I have a big set of goals, I'm a visionary thinker, and I work that, and I write them down, and I measure the fact that I'm getting forward, can I do this kind of self-change to myself without any help?
Technically, yes. I'm going to give you where you found that out. Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. He has the method where he advised, write it down, and every night read it. Now, every night read it before you go to sleep. And there was a little secret there, because we, all of us, the last 30 minutes of our day, we are in a natural hypnotic state. So if you're in a natural hypnotic state and you read the thing you want, you're basically giving yourself a suggestion every evening. So yes, it's going to work. However, think of drivers who are basically, you're sitting in the driver's seat versus you're sitting in the passenger seat. When you're sitting in the driver's seat, technically, you should be focused on the driving. The person in the passenger seat can be like, oh, look at that, it's all over there. When it comes to self-hypnosis, which is what reading would be, versus heterohypnosis, where I hypnotize you, in self-hypnosis, you have to maintain some control. You have to be aware of what you're doing. In heterohypnosis, you give me your wish list, and then I handle the rest. And you just sit and absorb.
In the back of your green screen there, you've got books up. Did you write all those books?
Yes, sir. There's 12. And number 13 actually was published in September. I haven't put it up yet. It actually became a #1 bestseller, which I'm very proud of.
Wow. Any of them on Amazon?
All of them. All of them. If you put Maureen Pisani, they all show up. Against All Odds is the self-help book that became a bestseller. It's not here yet, but on Amazon it is. I also have something called EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. And there's about 7 here that are emotional freedom technique with hypnotherapy, because I want to always empower you. So the EFT tapping that basically taps on the beginning or the ending of the Chinese meridians. Think of your circuit breaker at home. From your circuit breaker, switching on and off switches gets the bedroom to turn on, the kitchen to turn off without going into those rooms. So these books, I think there's 7 or 8 of them. They all help in a way. Like resilience is, we've all had those flat moments. And that one helps with coming back. When you go to my website, ProThriveSBH.com, and you go to the ebooks, there's one book there that isn't on Amazon. They wouldn't let me publish it. It's called Conquering COVID. Now, it's not conquering the disease. It's conquering the ripple effects. Conquering COVID is free. Go, download, share, tell everybody. It's there on purpose, because my mission in life is to help you, each and every one of you, overcome. So what happened with COVID? The world tipped over. We have no idea what's going to happen. Things that used to work don't. People that used to show up don't. So there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of sickness that shakes us to our core. There's a lot of sudden death. There's a lot of people just poof, gone. We can't see them in the hospital. So Conquering COVID is free. Go get it. Use it. There's the EFT tapping with the hypnosis on purpose to help you.
One final thought that I have, Maureen, I am a shop owner. I'm working with a coach consultant in our industry, and we have just some of the best coaches and consultants in the automotive aftermarket. And the coach says, hey, listen, man, you're just not getting this done. It's one of the most critical steps. And I'm listening to this episode, and I'm thinking, wow, maybe I need to do this for my coach. My coach needs to tell me, listen, I need to get a session with Maureen, and she needs to help me through this thing, this blockage, this thing that I'm not getting done. And I don't know why I'm not getting it done, but somewhere in my subconscious, I don't know, but it must be preventing me from making those important moves. You would be a great tool in that relationship.
Yes. I want to be able to support both the coach and the client. Yes. And all I need from the coach is, I want them to do this, this, and this. And I get the client's wording with, he wants me to do A, B, and C, but inside I have nausea. Inside I have palpitations. Inside I have cold sweats. And that's why they don't do it. So then I blend them, and the client does it, and the coach is happy, and the client gets the results. Absolutely.
What if one of the reasons that I didn't do it is just I don't have time? Or is that just an excuse?
That is an excuse. Let's bring it down to humanity. When a guy looks at a girl across the room and finds her interesting, he's ready to move mountains to make sure she notices him. And the thing is this, what's motivating them? Are they coming from, there's two types of motivations. There's what we call an away from. You come close to losing your shop, so you work like crazy to never be there again. But that ebbs and flows. That's not a consistent energy. Or we have what we call towards motivators, where it's, I want to have 2 shops in 2 different cities. Now that motivation is going to draw you. The closer you get to it, the more motivated you are. And one of the things I look for is which fire do they have burning? Because if it's the away from, we need to get them into the toward. And if it's the toward, it might not be strong enough. So then we amp it up and then they get it.
Wow. Maureen Pisani, ProThrive Science-Based Hypnotherapy. This was, out of almost 600 episodes, this was one of the ones that was out there for me. I really think, and thank you for bringing it down home. You brought it down home. Not maybe, but you turned me into a believer.
See, stranger things have happened, Carm.
Thanks for being here, Maureen.
My absolute pleasure.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.